guys, it's Nancy here and I'm back with another video for you, and this is still using that Jen Hadfield Brighter Life collection, and I'm going to be scrapping two 4x6 photos, and these are from my American trip. So this is me and my boyfriend at the Paramount Studios, and we are at the Brandon Gate, which it said that if you rub the Brandon Gate for good luck. So there's pictures of us with that. So I'm going to do a slightly different kind of layout here. It's not kind of one that I typically do when I've got two photos, but I'm going to kind of span it across the whole top third of that layout. So I've got a bit of that pink offcut which I used on the previous layout, and that's just going to help sort of ground my layout. I think I'm going to end up chopping that in half. I've also got those little potty people, which is a cut out that I did on my Cameo. Like I've said before, I batch cut bits, so I don't necessarily have a layout in mind for them, I just cut pieces. So I'm happy with how that looks. I am going to do a little bit of watercolouring on the background here, just because I want to bring in some sort of the blues and things, and I thought as this is a nice neutral piece of paper, then this would work quite well. So I'm just doing the packaging technique, which, you know, is well known by everyone, and I'm just using it to put a little bit of texture on the background. As this is printed cardstock, it never takes watercolour brilliantly, and I didn't want to gesso or anything like that because I just wanted to add a little bit of background texture. So I'm just using some teals and some yellows, and a little bit of greens and stuff, just to put a little bit of background interest in. And as always when I do these things, I end up covering most of it up. So I'm just going to put a wash of some watercolour on that journaling card as well, because that's just going to help to tie everything in. So when I've done this, the paper did buckle a little bit. If that does bother you, of course you can you know, weight it down and things, but it doesn't bother me that much. So I'm just going through my die cut. So I've got these little little basket sort of things, which someone had at one of the classes I was teaching at, and I was like, that's a genius idea, so I had to buy them. And they're sparkly, which is always good. So I've just got that to tip my die cuts in, so it's easier to kind of look at what I'm using. As you all know, I'm a massive fan of grey ink or grey anything, so I've got this Hickory Smoke, I think it is, Distress Oxide. It's my only Distress Oxide, and I love the techniques and stuff you get it, but I thought I'll get a grey one because I know that I will use grey. So I've just done some stamping in the background there, and that's just going to add a little bit of interest. So I'm now going to stick my two pink strips down, and as you can see, I'll cover up a lot of that work at the top and the bottom, but it's a nice texture to have there. So I'm then going to stick down my journaling card, and that's going to kind of be the basis of my layout. So I'm going to do an embellishment cluster, which is going to kind of spread across that sort of bottom there, and I'm just going through the die cuts and seeing what I can possibly tuck in and tuck around to build up those clusters. And I really like the florals in this collection, they're quite bright and cheerful. I'm also using this, which is a branding strip off one of the papers, and again just doing the classic, using it in threes around the layout. I did keep all of the bits I cut off and strips and stuff on my desk because I was working on these sort of in succession, so I had everything out on my desk whilst doing that. So I'm really happy with just kind of, you know, using these scraps up. Once I'd finished these layouts, I did put all of that in the bin because I wasn't going to keep those in there. So this is a camera I found from my stash. As you know, cameras are a theme in my travel album. I believe this came from the Alt New collection pack, which is what I use with Go Go Getaway at a Haydock event. And for some reason it was out and laying around, and I was like, I want a camera on here, that'll work. I've also got a cutout outline of the USA map, because that is something that I'm using throughout the album as well. So just going to use that as part of my embellishment cluster. The paper is warped here, so I do use a little bit more glue than I maybe normally would. But it's just going to help to stick everything down, and once it's in the weight of my album and got all the other layouts and stuff on top of it, it's going to be fine. So, not sure what I've wandered off to do here. Not that I can wander off anywhere, because I literally have to collapse my desk to get out of my room when it's up. But evidently just doing something on my phone or something. So I'm now just sticking down, again, a repeat of these different elements. So the striped border strip and the yellow. And the last layout and this layout are going to be in completely separate parts of the albums for the strip, so I don't worry too much that I'm using the same thing. And that's what I like about my travel albums, that they're not using all the same collection. For some of my mini albums I like doing that, but when I'm doing like a big project I'd get bored if I was trying to use all the same stuff. So there's real consistency probably with the icons that I'm using. Cameras, globes, geotags, and the outline of the US map. I've then double mounted a lot of my layouts, and most of my layouts have large 4x6 photos on, or slightly trimmed down 4x4, so they're all larger scale photos. So I'm now going to stick a sheet here and just adding a couple of different things in here. So I'm adding some more florals in behind here, and because it's a nice sunny photo with the blue sky and the palm trees and things, you can see it kind of works just having those bright colours in. So I've now pulled out a My Mind's Eye sticker book, and I was looking for this little TV emblem, and the reason I pulled that out, as I said, because this is from the studio tour, and a couple of previous layouts I've done, I've tried to put like a TV or something on, so I thought that just worked quite well. So I'm now pulling out some stars from the Chamel sticker book and just using them stick down, and the colours actually work really well. So I'm just going to play around sticking them about where I want, and I am going to end up sort of having a bigger title on here, and then I'm also going to have a little subtitle just saying the Brandon Gates, which is what these are called. So you've seen me do this before. I just kind of go through and I'm looking at colour really more than anything. I'm just going through, seeing what works with this. And I used some of these on my other Paramount Studios. So I think I'm going to kind of keep those layouts all with sort of similar things on, just so each part of my album reads true. If you have been following my channel for a while, if you want to go back and look on my videos, you'll see the Disney land one that I did. So I had all of my Disney photos that I wanted to scrap, and there's a series of videos for them, and I used all the same stash. So when you get to that part of my album, it's going to be very clear that these are all Disney pages. I've used the same font on all of the pages, the same cardstocks, etc. So do go back in my playlist and you will see that there, and that was for a Hey Little Magpie blog post last year. Was it this year? Some point. So like I said, I just like to keep different parts of my album kind of quite cohesive. So I'm continuing to go through sticker books here and finding stuff that's going to work, and just kind of seeing what goes through and what works. I'm then going to pull out some older bits and pieces, and as you know, I'm trying to just get through and use things up. So this is a Paige Evans chipboard sheet, and I got this when I went to a Birds of a Feather event when Paige Evans came over to teach some classes, and I decided that I was just going to try and use stuff up, and this fantastic kind of went with the colours and it fit in the gap, and I thought, let's go with this. You're going to see me use a few more of those up because they are in my kind of circulation of embellishments I want to use up. So then found this, I think it's Amy Tangerine maybe, and it says moment. I want to say moments, so I end up stealing an S off something. Not sure what it is I steal the S off, but end up stealing the S off another one of those foam stickers, because then it's just going to read fantastic moments. And I said it's one of those generic titles, but I think you have to go generic titles when you've got kind of pre-populated words, if that makes sense. I've kept the one that says major heart eyes. I really want to use that on a layout, but I just don't know how. So I'm just sticking that down there, and the S looks like it's sort of part of the word really. So just, again, using a bit of glue on those stickers, kind of chipboard pieces, because as we know, they never stick. So I'm now kind of thinking that's going to work, and I just want to put Brandon Gate on there somewhere. So I've gone to these LE Studio small tile letters, and they're going to work just to put that on there. And of course I've got a space to do some journaling where I'm just going to write about how, you know, the tour guide told us that people rub the gates for good luck. So of course it was a photo opportunity. So I want to thank you very much, guys, for stopping by and catching up this video. I am releasing videos a bit closer together because this is for my blog post that went up this month, so I thought it would make a bit more sense. So I want to thank you very much for stopping by and watching this. Please do go over and check out my blog post and all the other great blog posts that are over on the Hey Little Magpie blog. It's a fab design team. There's loads of, we're all very kind of different and diverse in what we do, so it's a great place to go and get some inspiration. So I'll see you all again very, very soon.